So the big award for the Actor Awards is Best Ensemble Cast. They don't really have a Best Picture, but Best Ensemble Cast is kind of the closest thing. It is the biggest award of the night. And that, of course, went to Sinners, not one battle after another. But maybe the even bigger shock of the night was in Best Actor, where it did not go to Timothée Chalamet, as most of us predicted. It went instead to Robert Aramayo again. I'm just kidding. It went to Michael B. Jordan. So, Craig, how much do you think this shakes up what we expect to see on the Oscars night? Should Timmy start dreaming smaller? Welcome back to Oscars Outsider, the podcast about the awards race and Hollywood history. I'm Dylan Ferguson. Hey, everyone. I'm with, as usual, Craig Midwinter. Hey, Craig, how's it going?
I am shocked.
Shocked. We are all shocked. We are recording this on the morning of Monday, the March 2nd. I forgot the month for a second there, which means that we are just coming off the Actor Awards, what they used to call the SAG Awards, which just aired last night, Sunday night. Definitely shook up the Oscars race. And we're going to get into it. We're going to be discussing what happened at the SAG and what we're expecting things to look like in these final 2 weeks before we get to Hollywood's biggest night. At the end of the show, we are going to talk about one of the Best Picture candidates, as we always do. They cleaned up at the Olympics, but can the Norwegians bring home gold on Hollywood's biggest night? We'll be talking about Sentimental Value a bit later. I'm also going to be testing Craig. I'm going to be administering an Oscars quiz partway through the show. But before we do that, we got to talk about what just went down. Craig, did you watch the SAGs? The Actor Awards?
I did. And okay, let's talk about the ceremony a little bit first. What did you think about the hosting and the structure of it all? Was it like a good TV event?
Yeah, I thought it was fine as a TV event. Like nothing spectacular. The running gag where actors play ping pong against each other, I thought was cute and funny.
Yeah,
I like that
too.
Kristen Bell is like fine. Like whatever. It works. She's bubbly. I thought it was a very serviceable show. It wasn't nothing amazing. When they had the cast members or those cast members who were there come up to introduce their film, it was always awkward. They always seemed to not know what to do. They always tried to like say the name of the film at the same time. It kind of flubbed it. But there's charm in the awkwardness too. It had some fun moments. It had some charming moments. It had some kind of raggedy moments. It was an okay ceremony, I thought. I think that the Actor Awards are definitely, with their rebranding, with their Netflix deal, they're trying to make a push to be kind of a big televised awards ceremony, which they didn't used to be. It's off to a fine start, I think. I don't know. What did you think?
I was pretty surprised. I thought that this was like a pretty good start. The things that I'm looking for in a ceremony is like the gags and the bits, which I thought were like medium, maybe the weakest part. I thought that the running gag of the ping pong was good, but there was room for just a little bit more there. The presenters I thought were all right, sometimes a little bit awkward. It didn't have the same it didn't feel as polished as the Oscars, but all in all, I thought it was pretty good. I was really surprised by how good the montages that they did were. Like, I think that
that's true. I did pick up on that too. I was like, hey, damn, whoever's editing the montages did some good work there.
Yeah. I mean, the Harrison Ford one just like kicked so much ass, and then we were texting back and forth, and he comes out and he's just kind of like a little bit of a lump. But
he's ancient. Give him a break. That is an old ass man.
But anyways, I thought that the montages were like really good. The red carpet coverage I caught a little bit of. Our girl Paige DeSorbo I thought did like a really good job in her hosting. So I thought overall I was like pretty pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I'd definitely be watching next year unless I have prior commitments.
It was at least Golden Globes level, I feel like.
Comparable to Golden Globes. I can agree with that. Comparable to Golden Globes, which also didn't like blow me away either, to be clear, but like definitely comparable. Okay, let's get into the results because we got to do this. There was definitely
we got to talk about Kerry Russell winning for The Diplomat.
no TV. Don't mention TV. It does not exist on this show. So the big award for the Actor Awards is Best Ensemble Cast. They don't really have a Best Picture, but Best Ensemble Cast is kind of the closest thing. It is the biggest award of the night. And that, of course, went to Sinners, not one battle after another. But maybe the even bigger shock of the night was in Best Actor, where it did not go to Timothée Chalamet, as most of us predicted. It went instead to Robert Aramayo again. I'm just kidding. It went to Michael B. Jordan. So, Craig, how much do you think this shakes up what we expect to see on the Oscars night? Should Timmy start dreaming smaller?
Honestly, I feel like it's huge. I don't know about you, but this says a lot about the momentum for Sinners to me, and actually maybe more about the momentum for One Battle After Another, which I think is definitely feeling the front runner fatigue. It does feel like there's this kind of late season push for Sinners. It's getting hot at the right time, and I think we could see Sinners being the real surprise on Oscar night. And when we thought that, it was a lock or we thought that Timmy was a lock for Best Actor, we could see Michael B. Jordan, which wasn't really on my radar at all. I think the ensemble win and Michael B. Jordan, it's maybe just says more about the momentum for Sinners as a whole, as opposed to any one particular race. But what do you think?
I think this is a huge blow to Timmy's chances for sure. Just focusing on Best Actor for the moment, I thought if there was one award he had in the bag, it would be the SAG Award.
Yeah.
Like if you remember last year, Adrian Brody won pretty much all the precursors heading up to Oscars night, except for the SAG, which went to Timothée Chalamet. So we have very recent evidence that the SAG body, which is a lot younger and of course is made up of actors who seem to like Chalamet, that seems to be a Chalamet friendly voting body. We just saw that play out in his favor last year. So the fact that this year he is the presumed front runner and he didn't get the SAG, that feels very significant. I've got to say that feels very, very significant. I dismissed the results of the BAFTAs where Robert Aramayo beat Timothée Chalamet. As you recall, I just said, that's a British actor. That doesn't count. When British actors win the BAFTAs, that's like a useless data point when it comes to predicting the Oscars. So I thought that the runway was still clear for Timmy. This is a big deal. This is very different. This makes his odds look a lot lower. Do I think he's no longer the front runner at this point? I don't think I'd go that far, but I think definitely this category has been tossed up in the air when I thought it was getting, if not completely sealed, getting very close to being closed.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is definitely it's up in the air. I am surprised. It's also interesting that Leonardo DiCaprio is just vanished from this race. Yeah. We were talking about one of our earlier hot takes was is Leo even number 2 here? And I think I said, I don't even know if he's top 3. And
that was last place.
Last place for sure.
I think
it's
so.
Crazy.
When we first started talking about the Oscars, granted very early, we first started talking about it in December. We were kind of talking about the race for Best Actor as Leo versus Timmy. And yeah, Leo he's literally vanished from the SAGs. He wasn't there last night. He was filming the Scorsese movie instead. Apparently, sounds like an excuse. Whatever. But yeah, you're right. He's not even on the radar anymore at this point.
Robert Aramayo has a better shot.
Probably as a write-in. Yeah. Why do you think that Timmy's chances might be fading, assuming they are fading? Because we did definitely see Critics' Choice, Golden Globe, the early races were going in his favor. Do you think something has happened during the race? Do you think something was gone wrong with his campaign that has maybe knocked it off the tracks a bit?
So I think that there's a multiple set of factors that has impacted this. I think one of it is just the constitution of the Oscars nomination. So I think the fact that Marty Supreme is not super well nominated, at least compared to something like Sinners or One Battle After Another, means that there's just less kind of exposure to people looking at it in terms of like it being an Oscars movie, right? We've got to watch, I think, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and then Sentimental Value has more nominations than Marty Supreme, I'm pretty sure. It's not in the top 3 of the movies that have nominations, at least in my memory. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, then it's number 4, I think. So.
Okay. Yeah.
It has 9 nominations.
4 isn't in the top 3.
Yeah. You're right.
No,
but I mean, it's not like it's like Blue Moon. It's not like it's just an actor and nothing else. It is nominated for Best Picture. It is nominated for Screenplay, for Directing. It does have a lot of noms all the same.
There is also that, like, in a particular race, you can get that front runner fatigue effect where everyone thinks that it's like a lock, and then they get overexposed to the campaign, to the role, and just like tired, and you lose that passion. And the fact that Sinners, it almost feels like its early release is playing in its favor. The fact that it didn't have this release window within the Oscars voting period, or the main like typical Oscar season where you see these releases. Granted, One Battle After Another didn't really either, but the fact that it was kind of laying dormant and people are like revisiting it, and it's standing up to this critical reassessment when people are revisiting it as part of the voting, I think is really helping it. And I think it's the Sinners surge. I think it's the fact that people aren't taking it as seriously of a film within the Best Picture conversation that is kind of rubbing off on the Best Actor race. And I think it's all those factors. And there are a lot of campaigns that are really passionate, or there's a lot of people that are really passionate about the Sinners campaign here, and other actors within that race. Like, obviously Wagner Moura has a lot of people that are excited about him. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that are like very excited about Ethan Hawke. Obviously there's always going to be people that are excited about Timothée Chalamet, but he is, I think that we're taking that for granted.
Yeah. This morning I decided to dunk my head into Twitter to see what some of the reactions are to it. And you know what I've seen some people saying? Some people are saying, like, I mean, obviously this is just randos, of course, but still try to get like a barometer reading. There are people out there being like, well, I guess Timothée Chalamet shouldn't have associated himself with creepy pedophiles like the Safdie brothers. So do you think that maybe the potential smear campaign that we saw being pulled out against Marty Supreme a few weeks ago, maybe it was actually intended to harm Timothée Chalamet's chances for Best Actor, and maybe it's actually working? Or am I being too conspiratorial minded in thinking that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was definitely like dredged up as like the timing of it. You have to see that this is being dredged up. It's from years ago. It was reported on years ago, and it's like being dredged up as part of this campaign season. And so obviously this is an attack on the chances for Marty Supreme. There's still a lot of passion around that movie. Like, I think people really seem to like that movie. So
is there I don't know, man. There was when it first came out, but I feel like that passion faded pretty quick compared to, like you said, Sinners obviously is getting a huge surge in support. You see when it won those awards last night, there was huge applauses for it. There's a lot of people who are just really shooting for Sinners. Does Marty Supreme have that kind of big base of fans in the Academy in Hollywood that are really pushing to get it over the line? I'm not too sure. It's hard to read. I mean, I'm just going.
Well, I do think that there's passion about Timmy. Like, I think there's passion about Timmy, but it's not like a passion about Marty Supreme. Like it's like the difference is between trying to stop a car versus trying to stop a train, right? You've got the whole Sinners package is what has the momentum right now versus Marty Supreme. It's just Timothy. So I think that's.
Do you think, one more question about Timmy before we move on, do you think that maybe he took the foot off the gas too much when he started going into kind of front runner mode and kind of calmed down his usual antic personality and started giving kind of humble speeches where he was just like kind of showing gratitude and not being as cocky as we've seen him be in the past? Do you think he went too much into front runner mode and started maybe thinking about looking winnable for the older voters too much and kind of lost a lot of that charm and energy that got him to this position where he was a front runner in the first place?
That's a great question. I don't have an answer for that, but I think that if that is something that truly impacted him, he was in a no-win situation, because people have been talking since like the beginning of Oscar season about how he is too cocky, and that's always been like the knock, that he is like just does not come across as like presidential enough, as we've talked about. And so if he has to like shift his persona in order to seem like he is electable, then I think that ends up being what hurts him. He was in a no-win situation. So, that's a good question. What do you think?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. I mean, that could have cost him the SAG vote, like just in the sense that maybe he's not present enough in people's algorithms in terms of like the SAG voters, the younger voting body. That maybe hurt him there. Maybe that's why he couldn't get it over the line the way he did for A Complete Unknown last year. In terms of the Oscars, I don't know. Like that's obviously what his focus is on, and he might still have played the right hand in terms of calming it down in the eyes of the Academy. That is yet to be determined. But I think it's very likely that his kind of more later presence on social media and his more calm, less cocky disposition in public venues, and giving speeches, has harmed his odds of winning the SAG. But to be determined if it actually worked in the Oscars, where the voting body is, of course, a lot older and might not have responded to that as much as well. Though, yeah, just the idea that he's less in the public eye than he was before. Obviously, when the movie came out, he was pushing for the movie to try to help its box office numbers too. It's not just about him getting personal accolades. So that's worth keeping in mind too. It's not like he's just been campaigning for himself the whole time. He was also campaigning for the movie, and that window's closed. But it's definitely interesting. I'm not sure if that. Yeah, I'm not sure if it'll hurt him in the Oscars, but it could even help him still. We will see. It would be very interesting if we saw that kind of flip from last year, where Timmy lost the SAG. Where last year Timmy won the SAG but lost the Oscar. If this year he loses the SAG but wins the Oscar, do you think he's no longer the front runner at this point?
I think he's still the front runner, but I definitely don't think it's anywhere close to being safe. Like I think that he is in trouble. He's still a front runner because there is no real front runner that has emerged other than him. But I think he's in danger. This one is so up in the air. And if you would have asked me if I would think that at this point, 2 weeks ago, there's no chance. I'm curious, who do you want to win this? Like who would you like to see win? Yeah.
Wagner Moura. Yeah. That'd be cool. I just think he'd give a good speech. I think it would be fun. I think his performance was great. I would be happy if any of these people went, except for maybe Leo. But these are all good performances. Wagner Moura is the one that I'd always like to see on that stage giving a speech. I think that would be cool. But I'd be happy to see Timmy get it. I'll say that my initial reaction was, let's not overreact. Still definitely the front runner. On the other hand, you know what I just saw? The last person to win Best Actor at the Oscars without taking either the BAFTA or the SAG was Sean Penn for Mystic River. That was more than 20 years ago.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
So that's pretty damning right there. It is traditionally very hard to get to the Oscars without getting either of the BAFTA or the SAG. Like I said, I dismissed him losing the BAFTA before, but in combination with him losing the SAG, it does look bad. It does look like he might be in real trouble here.
Totally. I agree. I think like most of these performances I think are worthy of the Best Actor. I would love to see Wagner Moura on stage. I would love to see Ethan Hawke on stage as well. I would love to see Michael B. Jordan on stage.
Yeah.
Timmy, I don't really care about seeing him. I feel like he's going to get an Oscar either way. The one thing that kind of like makes me want him to win is I'm worried about the impact of like this desire for the Oscar on his role selection, because I really like him as an actor. I am worried about this trend where he like kind of Will Smiths a little bit and is like really looking for this Oscar and just picking roles that are in movies that seem geared towards winning awards as opposed to like being like truly interesting. Like
Will Smith would never do a Josh Safdie movie. Let's just say that.
I don't know. He might. But like thinking about like A Complete Unknown last year, that movie's trash as far as I'm concerned. And I'm sorry if there's anyone that's listening that really is passionate about that. I am on the record as being a biopic hater, so that colors it. I think that Marty Supreme is still within that biopic genre, which I don't like. So you can assume that is like part of my bias, but these huge like vehicles for like a big performance that overwhelms the viewer, I think is something that I could see him like leaning into. Like what were some of those like Will Smith crappy Oscar grab movies that he did? There's like too many to even list. Pursuit of Happiness, and you know all of those movies. And I don't want to see that for Timothée. I think he's like way too talented and like way more interesting of an actor. I don't want this to impact his role selection in the future. So if there's anything that makes me want him to win, it's that. But I think there's so many more people that would be like much more exciting winners. And I'm just excited that this race is interesting once again.
Yeah, for sure. Because it definitely felt like actor and actress were moving into locked in territory. And now one of them is no longer locked in, though Jessie Buckley still is. Speaking of Best Picture, that has felt for most of the race as though it was locked in. Maybe some people doubted that when Sinners broke the nominations record. As we discussed at the time, I did not doubt One Battle After Another being the clear choice to win Best Picture. And I said at our last episode, after it won the Directors Guild of America award, I said, this doesn't change anything for me. In fact, this for me, rather, this means that it's all wrapped up. It's sealed. Like I said, I think I actually said, I don't care what happens at the SAGs. One Battle After Another is winning Best Picture.
Has that changed?
You know what? It's the combination of of Sinners winning Best Ensemble Cast plus Michael B. Jordan winning Best Actor. That changes things a little bit for me. It's not just the fact that Sinners won Best Ensemble. I could have seen that maybe coming. That alone doesn't change it, but it's the fact that they get Best Ensemble plus Michael B. Jordan gets Best Actor. It's just a strong sign that there is a lot of enthusiasm for Sinners in that room. That these Hollywood people really do like the movie a lot, and that probably should not be underestimated. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that everything is up in the air. I think what would be exciting for me is if we see a split between Best Picture and Best Director for One Battle and Sinners. I think that's a possibility. That would be an exciting outcome.
PGA has it wrapped up for Best Director more than One Battle has it wrapped up for Best Picture at this point. Yeah,
I agree with that. But yeah, I think that it is definitely up in the air. Since we talked last week, the PGAs happened and One Battle After Another took that as well. So, I mean, it's not like One Battle After Another is in a complete nosedive, but it is interesting the way that people seem to be talking about this race now, including us. Like the way we're talking about it, we don't have the same enthusiasm in our voice when we're talking about One Battle After Another as we did early on. And I think that is just a result of it, like everyone thinking that it was going to be a coronation on Oscar night and it was, expected to just like take everything. And so the excitement is around this, like this emerging momentum for Sinners, which has been like bubbling since the beginning of the Oscar season. Like, let's be clear. But the fact that it is now seen as like it could be this big upset on Oscar night is very exciting. And I think that's a sentiment that has been growing through the voting period. So I think we could be in for an interesting night.
So I asked you this question after the nominations came out. Even odds, do you still take One Battle After Another to win Best Picture, or do you tilt towards Sinners at this point?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that if I am an odds maker, I still have One Battle After Another as the smart pick as the number one. But just like my gut, my feeling kind of feels Sinners right now.
Okay. So I don't feel it's as up in the air as you do. I think that if Sinners had won the PGA, that would have been a bigger deal than winning ensemble cast at the SAG, maybe even with the best actor combo throwing in, which I said is the thing that really gives me pause, is the combo of the two, best actor and ensemble. But even with that combo, I still think it would have been a bigger deal if Sinners won the Producers Guild Award. The fact that One Battle After Another still managed to carry off the Directors Guild and the Producers Guild. Am I feeling less confident about One Battle After Another? Yes, but it's more like my feeling that it's going to win has gone down from 99% to 95%. I still think One Battle After Another is a strong front runner. I don't want to underestimate, like I said, that enthusiasm for Sinners, which you saw in that room, which you saw in the results. It is a strong player. I think we always knew that. But for One Battle After Another to fumble the Oscar after getting all these precedents would be almost unprecedented. I would have to go through the historic breakdowns, but there has been very, very few cases where you see a movie win, Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, Producers Guild, Directors Guild, BAFTA, and still not get the Oscar at their line. I'm glad that the race feels competitive now. I'm not changing what I think the front runner is in my mind.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like the odds makers still have to go One Battle After Another. Just the vibe and the momentum of Sinners right now, I feel like it's going to happen. And one thing that, like, we're looking at all these precursors as the data points, but I think just as an indicator for sentiment, the fact that this is nominated, like the most nominated movie this year, the most nominated movie ever, says that there is love for this across all of the crafts, across all of the voting sectors. And I think that is something that can't really be ignored. I agree that this is PTA is going to win director. I think that goes without saying, but I just feel it just feels like Sinners to me. I can feel it in my bones.
All right. So let's just quickly mention some other awards before we wrap things up, because that wasn't the only things that happened at the Actor Awards. It is a little, so the supporting categories continue to be, to their credit, very unpredictable. So that's great. We're going to get two very interesting supporting races. I feel like at the start of the season, when we saw, big awards go to Jacob Elordi and Stellan Skarsgård, the consensus had solidified that nobody from One Battle After Another is going to win a supporting actor because they're splitting the votes. And then now look what happened. Sean Penn just won the BAFTA and followed it up by winning an actor award. Does that make Sean Penn the front runner heading into Oscars night, do you think?
I kind of do. Yeah. I think like it's a combination of winning both those things and the timing of the wins of those things, like just as an indicator of kind of like how things are solidifying. So I do, but what do you think?
I can't call this at this point. I'll make a prediction next week when we do our final predictions, but I have no idea, to be honest. Supporting actor is a complete mess. It could go to anybody here. I have no clue. And even Delroy Lindo, who has been like nominated for nothing except for like an AARP award for movies for old timers or whatever, until he showed up in the Oscar nominations, like that shows you how much enthusiasm, like I said, the Academy does have for Sinners, which should not be discounted. Who knows if he doesn't have a shot at that too? Like anybody could have it at this point. It's been a completely chaotic and unpredictable best supporting actor race. I would like to see Sean Penn win just because he's going to be very performatively uncaring when he wins, because he loves to do that. I think he's like lit up a dart at the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
He loves to put on a show of not giving a shit about anything. So he will definitely give a performance on Oscars night. It'll be really irritating. It'll be really funny. But I have no idea who the front runner is. Supporting actress, we saw Amy Madigan take it at the Actors Award. Did that surprise you?
I mean, we thought that she might even like sweep this as being the sole nomination this season with all the precursors. We thought that was a possibility. That is not what happened. She's only got the Critics' Choice, I believe, of kind of like the main ones.
And this now.
And the SAG now. So definitely like interesting. I'm excited. I think that this is a fun performance for like a fun movie to be getting nominations. I don't think it's locked up for her though. I think that this one is still like totally up in the air. I actually feel like Tiana Taylor might be the best chance at this, even though she's only got the Golden Globe, but we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah. And again, if there's a huge Sinners wave that might be coming, that could raise Wunmi Mosaku as well.
Totally.
So we'll see. Before we wrap up about the Actors Awards, anything else about that night that you found surprising, interesting, fun?
No, not really. I think we pretty much covered it. I'm a little disappointed that this is like Jessie Buckley is sweeping. It's not something like we're not surprised. I don't know why we're like,
look, we have 3 competitive categories now. Let's be happy with that. Let's not get greedy and ask for all 4 to be competitive.
Yeah, this is just like, I don't really love this movie, and so I'm disappointed. This is like one of the ones that I just want to lose out of spite. Like I don't really have any good reason to not want her to win, other than like I didn't like the movie and I didn't like her performance, and that's I guess kind of enough. But obviously this resonates with somebody.
Yeah, I really like Jessie Buckley as an actor a lot. I don't think Hamnet's her best work, though. I think she's done much better work than Hamnet. But she's winning. That's that's the easiest, by far, the easiest one to call of the 4 acting categories. In terms of speeches, I did like Amy Madison a lot. I thought that that her speech was chaotic and charming for that reason. Speaking of chaotic and charming, Woody Harrelson presenting Harrison Ford with the Lifetime Achievement Award was pretty fun.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. He definitely like gave no fucks. He was just like there to have fun and be goofy with his buddy, and I really like that.
Really just 2 old stoners who like hanging out and getting stoned together.
Totally. Yeah.
You see the difference between the voluble stoner and the stoner who kind of gets clammed up and emotional, which is Harrison Ford.
Yeah. So I've got a bit of a question for you.
Shoot.
about the lead actor race. And I know we've like gone on and on about this, but I'm curious, who do you think of the voters that are eligible for both the BAFTA and the Oscar and voted for Aramayo? Who do you think their votes go for in the Oscar race?
I'm going to say that they're not going to Michael B. Jordan. I just feel like the British people aren't the most Sinners friendly crowd. I feel like Sinners is a lot more of a domestic phenomenon than it is an international phenomenon. That movie has a lot of love in America, but not as much love overseas. It is just a very American movie about very American subjects. So I feel like those people who were not voting for Timothée Chalamet are not all going to line up behind Michael B. Jordan. I think it's more likely that those specifically British voters, if they're voting for the BAFTA, that means they're British. That maybe they're going to Wagner Moura. Maybe they want if they were like happy enough to have a British person win, maybe they want somebody international. Maybe they want somebody who's not a Hollywood celebrity to win. Maybe they want somebody that's a little more off the board. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting because like my gut would say Wagner Moura, but like I believe that he was eligible like, I believe that movie was eligible and his performance was eligible, and he didn't even get
nominated. Yeah.
Wasn't nominated. So I
It's true. That's
really
very true.
don't know.
That's very true. The BAFTAs did not show that much Secret Agent love, so that might actually be a bad pick on my hand. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question.
I mean, I could see it potentially going to Michael B. Jordan, just if there's like, if that's where the momentum has been. So yeah, I don't know.
Kind of a follow-up on that. We've been saying since the start that Timothée Chalamet's weakness is older voters. I don't know if that's even still the case after the SAG, which is a younger voting body, didn't pick him. But if we're assuming that's still the case, do older voters who aren't going to vote for Timmy, are they going to vote for Michael B. Jordan, or does that kind of not make sense?
I mean, I could see that happening.
He is older, but he's not that much older. He's still in his 30s. And I think you can make the case that Timmy is despite his younger age, a more established Oscar-friendly pick because he has already been nominated for Best Actor. He's been in more Best Picture nominees than Michael B. Jordan has. Does it even make sense to somebody to say, I'm not going to give it to that young kid. I'm going to go with Michael B. Jordan instead.
I just think that like the themes in Sinners is like something that older voters are really comfortable. They're used to seeing movies about, racism that are really like on the nose. And I think that something like One Battle After Another, there's just like, it's maybe up for a little bit more, or it maybe feels almost too contemporary and a bit too like political, that they want their like hands off it, where, you can clearly like place yourself as a voter on the right side of history by selecting Sinners. Whereas because One Battle After Another seems like it takes place right now, it seems like you're picking a side politically. So I don't know. That's just my gut on it, but I don't know. I don't know what makes an older voter tick. I turn 30 next week, so
still chasing Shalamé.
Yeah.
I feel like if you are going from the perspective of a Best Actor has to earn it, they have to have like put in their time in the industry, and then they get a reward for having grinded out for a long time. You got to be going with Ethan Hawke in that case, like, because since Leo DiCaprio already has it, he's already surmounted that hill. The only seasoned veteran who's finally earned it that you could crown would be Ethan Hawke. So
and Arameo gave him a shout out during the BAFTAs too. I think
that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. There were a couple other Guild Awards that took place. Nothing too significant. We already mentioned that the Producers Guild Award top prize went to One Battle After Another. Anybody who's tracking the Best Editing race might be interested to know that the Editing Guild held their awards. And there was a split because they give one to the Best Edited Comedy, and that went to One Battle After Another, which they called the comedy, and Best Edited Drama went to Sinners. So the two front runners split for the Editing Awards. And we're still waiting on the Writers Guild Awards, which is going to happen next Sunday in New York, but not in LA, where they've canceled the ceremony because of a strike of Writers Guild office workers. That could be interesting to watch, specifically for the two screenplay categories. Any other news, Craig, from this past week that we should cover before we move on?
No, I mean, I think things are pretty much like locked up as they're going to be. So I haven't really seen too much of anything. I've got a little bit of a preference question. What do you think about the split between, comedy and drama? Do you like it when awards do that?
Yeah, I think it's fun that some of them do and some of them don't. It just complicates the picture, and I like that. I think we're getting a little too loose with the definition of comedy in some of these awards, which I think they're starting to use as a way to nominate different films, and for those that do TV, different series that they want to nominate. I know there has been controversy in the TV world. This is the last thing I'll ever say about TV, about The Bear being called a comedy. But also if you look at the nominees for best comedy at the Golden Globes going back a ways, it was like all of these are comedies. Is One Battle After Another comedy? I mean, yes and no. I don't know.
Fest.
Yeah. Though it is kind of weird to sort based on genre, just sometimes, just in some categories, in some awards. It is kind of a weird wrinkle to the race that artifact, which we just covered the first ever Academy Awards in our previous episode. By the way, if you're listening and you haven't heard our last episode, I strongly recommend that you listen to our recap of the first ever Academy Awards for 1929 and the backstory of that. But we saw that split was there originally in the Oscars. They had a best directing going to they had a best director comedy and a best directing drama, and then even they didn't have firm best picture. They didn't use comedy drama as a split. They used outstanding production versus unique and artistic picture. So this isn't like a new thing. Like this idea that you should divide it based on genre does go way back, but it is kind of weird how, compared to like the Grammys where everything is siloed off into different genres. In the film world, most things are all lumped together, but sometimes you separate them on based on genre, and that split is the kind of classic Greek theater split between comedy and drama. It is kind of arbitrary. It's kind of arbitrary, but I like that it provides a complication, a wrinkle, a strange thing to the race. I don't know. Do you think we should bring that back for the Oscars? So we should start dividing by genre in the Oscars again?
I don't think that we should divide along genre lines. I do like we talked about on another episode. Let's just keep plugging our entire back catalog where we're talking about changes that we would make to the Oscars. And I do like how they split along adapted versus original. I think that is a much more interesting way to do it. I think the debate around it is more interesting than like just having to nitpick about whether something's a musical or comedy or not. I think like whether or not something is adapted or whether a performance is adapted based on reference or is a wholly new character or performance, I think is a lot more interesting. So if we are to introduce a new split, I think we just continue splitting along that line since that's what we do for screenplay. I think it does make sense to do that for actor at least as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we move on to our next segment today?
Let's do it.
So I thought it would be fun, just as a bit of sport, a bit of game, to put you on the hot seat, Craig. And I wanted to make a little Oscars quiz just to grill you here. I created some trivia questions divided by category, divided by Let it roll. Let it roll. Let's go. So I've come up with some Oscars trivia questions divided by category, best picture, best actress, etc. A little challenging. I'll say a little challenging, but I'm going to ask you these questions as an opportunity for us to discuss some more Oscars history, as we like doing. Yeah, you're sweating right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
And if you're listening at home, play along too, and you can consider this game, can I beat Craig? So if you can beat Craig, sound off in the comments to clown on his ass. Are you ready? Are you ready? Is your seat warm enough?
I am ready as I'll ever be. Actually, I am legitimately going to take my sweater off just a second.
All right, Oscars quiz time. Let's go. Starting off with one that's a little challenging, I'll say. So this is actually inspired by a recent episode we did. Let's plug another one. We recently did an episode where we broke down the 1991 Oscars for the films of 1990. And in that Oscars, it was Dances with Wolves, which won Best Picture. One thing that was a little surprising about that is Dances with Wolves is a Western, and it had been a while since a Western won Best Picture. There weren't many Westerns, big budget Westerns in the 80s. The conventional wisdom is that studios had been scared off producing big budget Westerns because of the failure of Heaven's Gate in 1980. But Kevin Costner got the budget for his, and he won Best Picture. And it had been the first time in quite a while that the Best Picture went to a Western. So, Craig, my question for you is, how many Westerns have won Best Picture in Oscars history?
Oh, man. That's a good question. So this would include like up until current time, not just up until 91, right?
Yes, in all history.
Right? Because I feel like, The Unforgiven was that even a winner? Maybe not. Oh, fuck. I don't know. I think it's going to be 4. That's my guess.
Hit Golden. Play it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Crushing it. Damn, I thought that was a hard one. You got it. So the first Western to win Best Picture was way back in 1931 at the third Oscars. It was Cimarron. Cimarron won one of the very first Oscars as a very early Western. And then no Westerns won Best Picture until Dances with Wolves in 1991. So there's a 60-year gap, including basically all the iconic Westerns you could think of, all the John Ford movies, Howard Hawks movies, etc., where none of them ever won Best Picture, which is kind of a surprising thing for me since Westerns are such a fundamental part of Hollywood. But after Dances with Wolves, Unforgiven did in fact win Best Picture 2 years later in 1993. And I am also counting No Country for Old Men in 2008 because I think that is very clearly a Western, despite the fact that it is set in the present day. That makes 4. All right, let's see if we can keep this momentum going.
Okay, let's go.
So I'm moving on to one based around Best Director. Which of these 4 long-tenured Hollywood legends has the most career nominations for Best Director? Is it Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, Woody Allen, or Robert Altman?
So wait, we had Spielberg, Altman, Allen, and
Scorsese.
Marty. So I don't think that it's
nominations, remember.
Right, yeah. So I know that it took a while I'm thinking of wins, but I can't think of nominations.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's either Allen or Altman. I would definitely use a lifeline if I was on Millionaire for this right now.
Do you want me to cut one out to make it easier?
Yeah, let me...
How could I randomize this? Hold on. Let me flip a coin twice. I got my own system. You just got to trust the process.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes the second one. So I'm going to eliminate Woody Allen. So it's between Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and Robert Altman.
Okay, I feel like it's Altman.
No, that is not correct.
Oh.
The answer is Scorsese, who has 10 nominations. He really padded them out in the 21st century, despite not having that many before.
Right, yeah.
Spielberg is second with 9. Woody Allen has 7. And Altman actually only has 5 career nominations for Best Director.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah. Spielberg is the only one who has won twice from that list. Altman has never won. And the director with the most all-time is not on that list. It is William Wyler, who has been nominated 12 times.
Whoa.
So 2 more than Scorsese. Unlikely Scorsese catches him at this point, but he could. We'll see. Let's move on to Best Actress. Okay, so there are 3 actresses who have won Best Actress twice in the 21st century. Can you name all 3?
Twice in the 21st century?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Emma Stone is one of them.
That is one of them, correct.
Is Meryl one of them? Has she won twice in the 21st century?
That is not one of them, no.
Oh, okay.
Not for Best Actress. To be clear, I'm only talking about Best Actress, not supporting.
Okay. I don't know. Helen Mirren? I have no idea.
No, Helen Mirren does have 1, but not 2. So I'll give you the other 2.
Yeah.
So Emma Stone, of course, won for both La La Land and Poor Things. Frances McDormand has 2 for Nomadland and 3 Billboards. Yeah. And going back a little bit further, Hilary Swank winning for Boys Don't Cry in 2000. And then a few years later for $1 Million Baby.
Okay, clown in the comments. I deserve it on that one.
No, that's a hard one to just pull out of your head on the spot.
Don't. No, I deserve it.
Okay, cloud away. All right, let's move on to Best Actor. So you probably know that Adrian Brody was the youngest ever Best Actor winner when he won for The Pianist. That came up a number of times last year. But can you name the oldest ever Best Actor winner? And I'll give you a little hint on this. It wasn't that long ago.
It's Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, there you go. Anthony Hopkins for The Father in 2021. No hesitation.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yes, he's earned it, folks. So let's move on to Best Supporting Actress. This year, a movie that we are about to talk about, Sentimental Value, has 2 nominations in the Best Supporting Actress category for Elle Fanning and Inga Ibsdottir Lilias, a name that I'm practicing saying. Can you name the previous most recent movie to have 2 Best Supporting Actress nominations?
Is it Everything Everywhere All at Once?
You got that one. Yeah. You got it. Yes. Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Sue. And Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, won that year. Best Supporting Actor. Now, this is going to be a bit of a tough one here. How many different actors have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor for a role in one of the Godfather films? Also a little bit inspired by one of the episodes we did recently. So the 3 Godfather films combined, how many different actors have gotten a Best Supporting Actor nomination for being in one of those films?
Okay, supporting. Okay, so I think that, Marlon Brando, obviously. Robert De Niro again. Andy Garcia is 3. We're just talking about actor or actress as well?
Only actor, only supporting actor, just that one category.
Okay, so I think it's just 3. Yeah, is it 3?
No, it is a whopping 7.
What? Okay,
yes,
name them.
So the first Godfather, actually Marlon Brando was Best Actor, not Supporting Actor. But the first Godfather, there were nominations for James Caan. I think you're right. James Caan, Robert Duvall, and Al Pacino. All had a nomination for The Godfather. The Godfather Part 2 had also 3 nominations in Best Supporting Actor. Robert De Niro, of course. Michael V. Gazzo, who played Frank Pentangeli. And also Lee Strasberg, who played Hyman Roth. All 3 of those had Best Supporting Actor nominations. And then add to that, as you mentioned, Andy Garcia for Part 3 makes it 7.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they really spammed Best Supporting Actor, especially for those first 2 movies. 3 of the 5 slots all went to the same film. Let's move on to the screenplay categories. Best Original Screenplay. So which of these Gen X icons has the most Best Original Screenplay nominations? Kind of a similar question to the director. So most original screenplay nominations from these 4 names: Quentin Tarantino, Paul Thomas Anderson, Wes Anderson, or Noah Baumbach.
My gut says it's Baumbach.
Final answer?
No.
Keep mulling then. Mull away.
So yeah, my gut is just saying it's Baumbach, but I'm trying to justify that answer in my head, and I can't really. And now I'm trying to justify any of the other candidates, and I can't really. You know what? I just feel like I remember Tarantino only getting writing nominations for a while, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm gonna say Tarantino.
Yeah, you've already got your finger hovering. Yeah, you got it.
Yes.
Yes, it is Tarantino. Tarantino has been nominated 4 times for Best Original Screenplay, and he has won twice. PTA and Wes Anderson have each 3 nominations, and Baumbach has 2 nominations, though none of them have actually won in the category. Tarantino is not even close, though, to catching the all-time nominations leader in this category, which is Woody Allen. Woody Allen has a whopping 16 career nominations in Best Original Screenplay. That's 10 more than the second most nominated writer in that category's history, which is Federico Fellini.
Okay.
So, Best Adapted Screenplay. So most winners in Best Adapted Screenplay are for screenplays based on books, whether fiction or nonfiction books, though there are a few exceptions. There are some that are based on plays, and there are 2 films that have won in the Best Adapted Screenplay category for a remake of an earlier film. Can you name, to make this a bit easier, at least one of the 2 remakes to have won a Best Adapted Screenplay Oscar?
Okay, so my guess would be A Star Is Born. Yeah, I'm gonna guess A Star Is Born. Did that win? And I'm thinking that it's maybe not the most recent adaptation of it.
That's not correct. You know what? I'm going to give you another shot. I think this one's hard. So let me give you a hint. Let me give you 2 hints. Both movies are from the 21st century, and both of these movies also won Best Picture. I'll give you 1/3 hint. Both of the movies that are being remade, the original films, were not in the English language.
Okay. This is another one where I'm going to beat myself up about this question. Just the sheer amount of hints that you've given me.
I gave you a lot of hints, to be clear, because I do think this is tough. I wouldn't have been able to get it. But, well, after I wrote the question, I probably would have. Want to wave the white flag?
No, give me just a second here. Let's see.
Do you have the Jeopardy music on your soundboard? Or
I don't have it on the soundboard. No, I actually don't even have my regular soundboard, but I'll add it in post. Okay, no, I give up.
All right, so one of them is The Departed.
Oh.
The Departed is an adaptation of Infernal Affairs, the Hong Kong movie. The other one, and I think this is the even harder one to get, is Coda. Coda is actually an adaptation of a Swiss-French movie called La Famille Bélier.
Oh, okay. I never would have got that either.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that.
All right. I'm just going to do a couple more here before we wrap this up. One for Best International Feature Film, formerly known as Best Foreign Language Film. A simple one. Which country has, not simple in terms of easy, but basic question. Which country has received the most wins for Best International Feature Film? They're always awarded to a country in particular. Which country has the most wins?
Italy?
Yes, sir. You got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Italy has won this award 14 times. That includes 4 wins for Fellini films and 4 wins for Vittorio De Sica films. France is in second place with 12 wins, but France actually leads in nominations with 43 noms to Italy's 32 noms. Though France has not won the award since 1992, which I find a little surprising.
Oh, okay. What was that for?
Good question.
Now you get the Jeopardy music.
64th Academy Awards. Best Foreign Film. That's not right. Must be 1993. Must be for the films of 1992.
Hit those clown emojis in the comments for Dylan.
Indochine was the winner. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there was also a movie nominated that year from Germany, which is called Stonk! Exclamation point. I just saw that. Don't know what that is, but I thought it should share. Stonk was nominated. Let's just do 2 more here and then we'll wrap it up. All right. All right. So one for editing. Best editing. Roderick Jaynes has won Best Editing twice, in 1997 and in 2008. But Roderick Jaynes does not exist. He is a pseudonym. Can you tell me who is Roderick Jaynes?
No.
So the answer is the Coen brothers. The Coen brothers traditionally edit their own movies, but they use the pseudonym Roderick Jaynes as the editor. That is a pseudonym that they have registered with the editing guilds. They're allowed to use that. And that fake person, Roderick Jaynes, has won Best Editing for Fargo and for No Country for Old Men.
Okay.
So that is the credited winner, but it is the Coen brothers. Let's do one more. Best Cinematography. Emmanuel Lubezki has won Best Cinematography 3 years in a row, 2014, 2015, and 2016. Can you name the 3 movies?
Wait, what years again?
2014, 2015, and 2016 were the years the Oscars were held.
Okay, so Birdman, The Revenant, and I don't know what the other one is. Did I get either of those?
Yes, you've got 2 of 3. You've got the winners for 2015 and 2016. You do not have his first win from 2014, the year before.
I can't remember.
So you have his 2 wins with Iñárritu.
Yeah.
But you don't have his win with Alfonso Cuarón for Gravity.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I think that's enough of that. I think he did pretty damn good. Let's have a round of applause for Craig.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So before we wrap things up, we always discuss one of the Best Picture nominated films as the last thing we do. And we have now done 9 out of 10. We are down to the last one. And the one that we still haven't talked about is the Norwegian film Sentimental Value. Craig, why don't you lead us off? What do you think about Sentimental Value?
Okay, I love this movie. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I really love this movie. I think it's filled with like fantastic performances. I was surprised at how nominated it was within the acting space, and I still am a bit surprised, but I think it's well deserved. I think that Stellan Skarsgård is fantastic. Everyone is fantastic in it. I was really especially excited to see Elle Fanning, who I think was like incredible in this movie, and she was the one that we thought was probably going to miss out on her supporting actress nomination again. I thought she was fantastic. I think that this is a really like well constructed film. I think that the characters just have a lot of depth, and the relationships just have a lot of depth. I like that it uses. I'm similar to the Academy. I like movies about movies, and I like how that is used as a structure. I like how the script and all these tokens that are like scattered throughout it are used, and I just think that this is a great movie. What did you think?
Not as enthusiastic as you are. I'm torn on the movie. I think it's interesting. There's a lot of richness to it. I think there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of different strains of the story that kind of overlap with each other and mirror each other. That's interesting. I do find the title appropriate. I think it's too sentimental. I find it a little too mawkish. I think it's a little too over therapized. I think people are too inclined to patch things up, and I think the relations between the family become a little too unrealistically cured by the end of the film. I do want to talk about the end, so I mean, I guess that's kind of a spoiler alert, but I feel like it's a big part of how I feel about the movie, like how it stuck the landing or didn't.
Yeah,
and that really made me conflicted about the film. On the one hand, I think it's a bold film. It's a bold move to start the movie off by being like, this house is the character. This house is the thing that contains all these layers of trauma that the family has gone through, and all this history that's been buried or remembered or whatever. And then to end it by having the house kind of getting torn apart to become modernized, and then having the final scene actually take place at a fake house, which is a film set, to kind of say like, actually the house, the empty vessel wasn't important. What's important, at least the way I read it, is the film saying what's important is the way that we conceive of this thing, this fake house that we can build on a film stage is more important. That's what we can use to resolve our disputes. I think it's very, at the same time, kind of self-serving for a filmmaker to be like, well, you know what? Actually, this guy who's trying to turn all his family trauma into film is doing the healthy thing, and that's actually what's going to fix it. And that if his estranged daughter just actually comes back and does the film, she'll realize that like that's what needed to be done all along, for everybody to understand each other and get along. I think that message is a little shifty. And I think that, combined with the whole kind of fake out, is she really going to kill herself or is she just pretending to kill herself because it's a movie, is kind of manipulative. And I think it shows Joachim Trier defaulting to like, the movie world is good actually, and everybody here is turns out, surprise, working on their problems in a healthy way, and not actually tearing each other apart by it. That's part of what makes me conflicted about it. It makes me feel like it is being overly mawkish and overly positive in a way that doesn't totally feel realistic to me. I think there's so many threads and strands to this movie that it almost becomes shaggy and messy. And I think ending it with that kind of what I read as positivity, which could be read differently for sure, that feels like a false note to me, and I feel like it's tied up in a way which I don't totally agree with.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like your read on the ending lets Stellan Skarsgård's character off the hook more than my interpretation of it does. I think that the fact that he was not like physically within this constructed house and there's distance between herself and him, I thought it kind of represented the fact that she's still keeping him outside of the house. And even though this house is like torn down and remade and fake, there's still distance between them. So I didn't think that it completely took him off the hook, but it showed progress and like putting up this safe construction around their relationship. So I kind of did like that relationship because I'm just thinking about the kind of the political climate that is tearing people apart in the States around, the divide between Democrats and Republican, and how that is causing like people to sever their relationship with their parents. I feel like to let him off the hook would be kind of akin to, there's this reel that keeps getting served to me on Instagram where it's this comedian that's singing about how everyone who votes for Trump sucks except for my mom and dad. And like, I think that if this ending were to completely let him off the hook, then I would agree. I think that it wouldn't have stuck the landing, but I think that the fact that there was still distance, there was this human construction as opposed to the like more organic, timeless construction of the actual house in between them. I thought that was, I thought it was a smart choice in a way that shows progress, like a nuanced progress, but still distance.
But that construction also where they do, whether it's final or not, where they do find a resolution, that's all his, like it's his movie set for his script that he wrote. That's why I feel like it's being too kind for him. It's like, to me, it's like saying this whole time where we felt like you were prioritizing your movies over us. Oh, it turns out that you are dealing with your feelings in a healthy way. And now that we can reunite if you just accept to do the script for me. And if you just accept to go into my set, my construction, and act out my part, then we can be emotional, we can hug, and we can have this moment where we're reuniting. That's why I think it is being too kind to Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely like being kind to him, but it is still like he is still in this role of being a manipulator. I think it is saying that he is processing his trauma and his feelings in a way that is healthy for him, but there's impact on everyone else since he is still the manipulator. And maybe it does paint it a little like optimistically, but I think there's nuance to it. And maybe I wanted to read that nuance and because I liked the journey up until that point. But yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah.
I think another interesting, I want to go back to like Elle Fanning. I thought that one of the things that the film did really successfully for me was showing him being a better functioning like parental figure to Elle Fanning than he does his own daughters. And I think that is one of the more underratedly scathing parts of the character portrait of him. But because on the surface it seems like he's doing a good job in this role, and then you've got this counterpoint to his relationship with his own daughters, and I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I still feel kind of two ways about it. I hear what you're saying for sure. I don't want it to be like a Lars von Trier movie or to be like to just totally bleak and hopeless. But I feel like, especially compared to like Oslo August 31st and even some elements of The Worst Person in the World, I think that Joachim Trier's new movie is moving more and more towards comforting territory. And I feel like that's a worrying instinct that there's too much of a vibe of everything can be resolved. That feels less honest and more keyed towards the idea of kind of reassuring the audience. I don't want him to reassure the audience. I want him to be unsparing and brutal because I feel like that would be like a more maybe a more honest exploration. I don't know. That's maybe just my take on it. But I do feel there's a bit of manipulation and a bit of dishonesty in the way things are wrapped up, and that counts for a lot because it is a shaggy script with a lot of loose ends running around. And I get that. That's where it gets a lot of its power from, is layering the different, Gustav Borg's mother's story on top of his story, on top of his daughter's story, and showing these reverberations. Layering these different strands on top of each other provides a lot of depth. I remain unconvinced, but I think it's a really, really interesting movie that I've definitely thought about a lot since I first saw it.
Yeah. Another thing that I think it does really well, and we talked about this a little bit, but just the use of space in this movie, I think, is really good. The actual physical locations being living, breathing figures within this story, I thought was really well executed, for me at least. I also think one thing that a lot of really dialogue heavy movies run into is where you get kind of this screenwriter tongue where they're pulling in tangents in order to flesh out the script and say whatever interesting thought the screenwriter wants to shoehorn in. I think that can be done well, but sometimes it feels like a little almost Gilmore Girls-y in terms of the dialogue. That's kind of what I felt about A Real Pain last year. This doesn't have that problem whatsoever. There's obviously a ton of dialogue in this movie, but it's all very grounded within their relationships and their world. And it's not it doesn't have that Gilmore's Girl vibe.
Yeah. I think it does slightly suffer from a more contemporary issue that I have personally with a lot of screenplays, which isn't that that kind of 90s-ish problem that you identified, but I feel like a lot of contemporary screenplays have characters talking to each other the way people talk to their therapists, and I feel like that's definitely a thing in Sentimental Value. Maybe people in Norway do speak to each other the way they talk to their therapists, but to me it feels like there isn't the kind of the dynamics between people that feels less realistic, because it feels like people are expressing their feelings and their trauma in a way that is a little too on the nose compared to the way actual human beings talk to each other in real world situations.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable complaint. I'm a bit forgiving of that because a lot of the relationships that we see this dialogue take place between are family or intimate partners or whatever. So, but yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah. My favorite performance is definitely Renata Rensve. I think that she is the real heart of the movie, because if it didn't work with her, the movie wouldn't have worked at all. I think even more than Gustav Borg or Elle Fanning's character. She has a lot of vulnerability on her face all the time, and you feel like her face is a very permeable barrier. You feel as if you look straight through her facial expressions and see what's going on inside her mind very easily. And I think that's a very, very strong quality for an actor to have, and that's a huge part of why the movie works as it does. All right. So if you want to hear our thoughts on any of the other Best Picture winners, once again, we have that back catalog. You can go check on some of our past episodes. Next episode, next week, is going to be our final Oscars preview show. We're gonna wrap this series up with a category by category preview of what's going to happen on Hollywood's biggest night. We're going to have a couple special guests. We're going to have a couple of fun games too. It's going to be a good time. So make sure you don't miss our final Oscars preview episode coming up in about a week from now. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe so you do not miss that.
Yeah, last chance to hear from us until May when Con comes around.
There you go. So, Craig, it's been a blast. Any last words you want to leave our audience with?
No, hit subscribe so that you get that Oscar preview show. Looking forward to it.
Yes, it's going to be a good time. All right. My name is Dylan Ferguson. You can find me on Substack. That's Craig Midwinter. We will see you next week when we preview the Oscars. They're coming right up. See you then.